We have to say yes to socialism, to the word and everything.
Yeah! Jim motherfucking Carrey. What am I going to do with you? Oh, I know. Mock, laugh, and deride you for the stupid shit you espouse. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rage the Mohawk, and we got another episode of Tales of the Incredibly Stupid. I didn't think I'd have another one so quickly, but hey, the universe provides, right? Anyways, Jimbo over here, a few nights ago, told Democrats they just needed to say yes to socialism, as you saw in the beginning of this video. Now, before anyone starts screaming, straw man, I'm more than happy to play a few more clips so I don't take the yes man out of context. So here's a few gems from that sit-down.
When you have the disorder, you know, like when like I was saying before, his personal cabinet now has turned on him. Mm-hmm. The person with this disorder is never going to go, maybe it's me.
No, of course not. You want to see something interesting. Everybody is saying, well, not everybody's saying. I sound like Trump now. Everybody's saying. Everybody's saying. The guy down here saying. There's a guy under here saying it. The voices in my head are saying.
Even if you thought these things, to say them out loud as often as he does about himself.
But that's his trick, right? I mean, he kind of says these things that are so outrageous over and over and over again until eventually people think that there must be something there, right? That even if it's not, even if he's not worth $10 billion, he must be worth like $1 billion as opposed to, a few million, or as opposed to being in debt a few million, right?
He reported 100 and he was worth 5.
Right.
So that's the ratio of truth to bullshit with Trump. Basically, anything he says is 20 to 1.
Oh, you're talking about that unverified op-ed published by the New York Times with an unnamed source of all things. This is the article, in fact. I'll have it linked in the description bar down below. And having a New York Times contributor on daring that segment? Really makes you think, doesn't it? Look, it could be true. Or it could be a complete load of bullshit. And if I've learned anything growing up poor, it was how to sniff out a bullshit merchant. And I'll be honest with you folks, it smells like a bullpen in this bitch. For all we know, it actually could have been a New York Times contributor fabricating the whole damn thing, and we'd never know about it. I mean, it's not like the mainstream media has ever acted underhandedly, or dare I say outright lied to the American people, right? Right? Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, and basically I've learned how to, and I am as angry and caught up in this stuff as anybody. I'm outraged. It's like a carpet bombing of outrage that's happening.
I see it in your art.
Absolutely.
I first saw you. I didn't realize until I saw you on Jerry Seinfeld's coffee show when he was at your studio. What a great artist you are. And now I see it all the time on social media because
it took me over.
Can we show you a few of these?
Sure, I'd love
Okay, show I love this one of Trump.
Yeah.
It's real.
Now, a lot of people don't know that that's Ryan and Nunez are the flying monkeys.
Okay.
Perhaps I wasn't detailed enough to.
And then Lincoln is then there.
He was my
Lincoln crying.
Yeah, Lincoln symbolizes.
I love that because Trump is always
a president that actually, had the worst tribulations our country has ever faced, and brought us together. Now, the opposite is happening right now. We have a president who started out when the country was together, and had a wonderful leader, and he is tearing us limb from limb, destroying every institution.
Let's talk about this Donald Trump, even though we don't want to. Let's bring it on the panel for this.
He's a car salesman. He's a used car salesman.
Absolutely.
And he's, he didn't make America great again, but he did turn back the odometer.
So Jim over here is now an artist. Good for you. So's George W. Bush. You want a fucking cookie?
I grew up in Canada, okay? We have socialized medicine. And I'm here to tell you that this bullshit line that you get on all of the political shows from people is that it's a failure. The system is a failure in Canada. It is not a failure in Canada. I never waited for anything in my life. I chose my own doctors. My mother never paid for a prescription. It was fantastic. And I just got back from Vancouver, and I keep hearing this, like, Canadians are so nice. Canadians are so nice. They can be nice because they have health care. Because they have...
Oh, yeah. Because waiting 20 weeks just to see a specialist is a sure hallmark of a functioning medical system. How about waiting 10 weeks just to get an MRI? I'll be linking a wait time paper done by the Fraser Institute down in the description bar down below. Jimbo, you don't know the data, and you're lying through those giant teeth of yours. But I think you summed this up in this very interview. Granted, slightly out of order, but hey, let's just say I fixed it for you.
We are babysat by the television. We're taught how to think by the television. That's the dangerous thing about what's going on right now. There are generations growing up right now who are learning to lie. That lying is okay. That this
kids say fake news.
That you're supposed to hate half the country. You know? And if anything, we've got to get back to a place where we realize that a vote is not who you are.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Thanks, Jim. Next clip.
I had a girlfriend one time, a long time ago, and we were having problems. I went to therapy, and the therapist said, "Sounds like your girlfriend's a little bit borderline personality, and she's a narcissist and whatever." And I said, "Well, maybe if I just find a different way to intellectualize or get used to what she's saying, and I could, my comebacks would be different, and I could just accept the fact she's going to be a dick every once in a while, and whatever." And she said, "Please do. Please try for a week to ignore and not react to these buttons that are being pushed."
The thing is, we actually don't
This was
want a mushroom
before Twitter.
cloud.
No, I know. We don't want it. But if you
That's a
ignore,
little fly in that ointment, yeah.
I'm saying there needs to be people around them.
Okay, that.
Not all.
Well, we had.
Okay. When you're talking about your ex-girlfriend, are you talking about the one that committed suicide by overdosing after you broke up with her? This girl, right here. Let me be clear. You had no control over her actions, but bringing that shit up, well, that's in poor fucking taste. Even for you, dude. I mean, even Mar had the sense to pull back. I'm just gonna say it. That was really fucked up, man. Alright, now that I've given Dumb and Dumber enough rope to hang themselves with, let's finish this in earnest, shall we? Now, I got my issues with Bill Maher. I mean, if you spent the better part of the past 8 years slobbing Obama's knob, and you forgot to come up for air, I'm sure you'd be that blue too. But to be fair to the man, he did stand up for free speech, and Alex Jones, even when his own guests and audience cheered at what I like to call the new media blacklist. So Maher, you're a stupid liberal, but not a deranged leftist. And there is a difference. But let's stick to Jimmy over here. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but when I saw that say yes to socialism part, only one thing popped into my head. See if you're thinking the same thing.
We're gonna make a covenant, Carl. Yes. Do you want to make a covenant? The word is yes, Carl.
Yes! Yes!
Okay. Sweatshop sneaker jokes aside, I'm going to ignore the entire Nike Kaepernick shit. Personally, I don't care. He was a shit player with shit stats, who decided to become a shit activist. He's stupid, but at least he's not beating his girlfriend or hosting dogfighting rings in his backyard. So in short, in the USA, he's free to be the biggest turd he likes, and frankly, I don't have a high opinion on professional sports to begin with. So, fuck him. After all this, here's my final thoughts. Jim, you're a Canadian comedian that moved to the U.S., moved to Hollywood, and worked really hard to get where you are now. I myself, personally, I can't stand your movies. It's man-child comedy to me. I'll stick to Tom Lear and George Carlin, thank you. But clearly, many people do enjoy your work. So much so that your net worth is $150 million. This is your house, for fuck's sake. You had an opportunity here to talk about that hard work, but you didn't. Instead, you decided to walk out from your ivory tower and look down to the little people and proclaim, fuck hard work, fuck meritocracy, you're too stupid, you're too weak, mediocrity will do for you. If that's not a champagne socialist, I don't know what is. Because in the end, that's what it's really about. When you say yes to socialism, you say yes to mediocrity and conformity. So in closing, fuck you, Jim Carrey. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for listening to me rant for a time. As always, I'm Rage the Mohawk, and good tidings to you all.